What if the real evidence that you trust God isn't that you understand what He is doing? What if it is that you are willing to obey Him even when you don't? Because today God reminded me of something. Trusting Him means surrendering my understanding, accepting His truth, and receiving His grace. And believing that even when I can't see where He's taking me, He's still working. He's still got it all figured out. Hello, family. This is Sai, and Carol, the Love Guru, and welcome back to another installment of my 365-day devotional journey, where I am simply just documenting what God is teaching me through His Word each and every day in hopes to encourage one or all of you to grow in your own spiritual walk and journey with Jesus Christ. And today, everything that I studied just seemed to take me back to one simple word, and that word is trust. So we go over to Proverbs chapter 3, 5, and 6, and it reads, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path." And I realized that all our ways means exactly that, all of them. Not just the big decisions, not just when we are in crisis. It's how I handle relationships, how I respond when someone is hurting me, whether I forgive, whether I am generous, whether I obey, whether the prompting from God, even whether I choose faith over fear when fear is clearly easier. Sometimes acknowledging God is simply saying, "Lord, I don't know what to do next, but I trust you enough to make the next obedient step." And that's the key word in that sentence. The steps should be obedient, and it should come from Him. So we must trust Him to do that. So then I got over to 1 Kings chapter 14, and Jeroboam showed the opposite side of this particular lesson. He is a man who wanted a word from God, but he didn't want to surrender to God. You know what I mean? He had repeatedly rejected God's truth. Yet when his son became sick, suddenly, baby, he wanted God's prophet. He even sent his wife in disguise. But you can disguise yourself from people. You cannot disguise your heart from God. And that is where the conviction comes in. Because sometimes we want God to bless our plans when what He really wants is permission to change them. Sometimes we're asking God for direction while still holding on tightly to the very thing that He asked us to release. That's why one of my prayers today was, "God, protect my heart. Help me to let go of anything that isn't your will for me so that I can make room for what you have prepared for me." But here's what I love. God doesn't confront us with truth and then leave us condemned by it. So we move over to John chapter 1, verse 14, and that says, "Jesus came full of grace and truth." Not grace without truth, not truth without grace. He came with both. Jesus came with both. Truth shows me where I am wrong, but by the mighty and magnificent grace of God, grace reminds me that being wrong doesn't mean that God is finished with me. Truth tells me what needs to change. Grace gives me another opportunity to surrender it. And because I've received grace, I should extend that too. Through forgiveness, through mercy, through generosity, and even through compassion. If Jesus has forgiven me, how can I refuse to forgive somebody else? If God has been generous with me, how can I refuse to refresh somebody else. And maybe that is why Philippians 1 and 6 came into my lesson today. He who begins a good work in you will complete it. Family, God is still working. Even in the valley, Psalms 23 and 4 says, Psalms 23 and 4 doesn't say we won't walk through the valleys. It says we don't have to fear while we are walking through them. Because why? God is with us. So maybe I don't need every answer today. Maybe I just need enough faith for the next obedient step. There it is again. Obedient step. God sees what I cannot see. He knows what I do not know. And even parts of my soul that I don't even understand are not wasted. So today I am learning to just pray instead. So the prayer is, God, your perspective is greater than mine. Your truth is greater than my feelings. Your plans are greater than my plans. God, give me grace where I have failed. Help me to extend that grace to others. Remove whatever isn't in your will and teach me to trust you with whatever comes next. Because I may not know where the path is going, but I do know who is directing it. Guide me, love me, and carry me from here. In Jesus' precious and holy, matchless name, I pray. Amen. All right, guys, that is it for day 27. And you already know, I am Cherie. And this is starting at 40, a 365-day walk through the Bible. Remember, 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 remember. If you do not remember anything, remember this. I love you. I love you. If no one has told you today, I love you. And I'm praying fervently for each and every last one of you. And I'll see you tomorrow, Lord willing, to share what God is teaching me next.